We're going live, Jack.
So it looks like we're live. So what's up, everybody? Today we have Pro MMA Fighter and one of Impact's longest sponsored athletes, Jason Rine. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Jason, we were just talking off camera a little bit that we've been together so long, but haven't been ever formally face to face. So this is a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just dive into the first question. So tell us about your journey from being an amateur to now going into a pro MMA fighter.
When I first started, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't wrestle in high school. Nothing. I just saw it on TV one day, and I was like, oh, I think I could do that. So I actually took a fight before ever training, which was the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Almost like a street beef type fight, or was it sanctioned?
It was a sanctioned fight. I just thought you got in there and fought. I didn't realize there was training and all that involved. And then after that, I was like, all right, if I'm going to take this serious, I need to actually get in a gym and learn something.
So, you know, Jason, Jack and I both play hockey, so we think we're fighters, but we're really not. In your case, were you a fighter in high school or something like that? What made you think you could get in the ring like that so quick?
I really don't know. I just saw it and I was like, I think I could do that. I didn't realize there was so much skill involved.
Yeah, right. And now, how many years ago was that?
12 years ago.
It's been a long time. You've put in 10,000 hours by now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you talk about going into fighting without training, and now obviously I'm sure you're training all the time. How has your training really changed?
Now I train in all aspects of the game. I do MMA, but kickboxing, wrestling. I have a strength and conditioning coach, which is a huge part of fighting that people, or sports in general, that people don't realize.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I do cross training with other gyms and other fighters around Ohio, and just learn a little bit of what everybody has to offer.
Jason, what part of Ohio are you in?
Mount Vernon, Knox County. It's about an hour north of Columbus.
Gotcha. So we're doing a good amount of our manufacturing right there near Cincinnati in Kent, Ohio.
Okay. Yeah, we're about 2.5 hours from there.
Right. Yeah, I've driven through there many times now. Yeah, so just going back to that first fight where you had no training, you got to tell us, win or loss?
It was a loss. It was quick. I went against I'm not sure what belt in jiu-jitsu he was, but
right. And
he was almost a foot taller than I was, so it's like his arms wrapped around me, and I just couldn't get away.
Yeah. When you got skills versus no skills, there's a big difference, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was that one fight the other night where the girl had the leg in that lock, right? Jack,
yeah,
you watched it. I just saw the pictures.
Yeah, I didn't see the actual fight. I saw highlights, and that it was pretty gruesome.
Yeah. Getting away, she had her arms wrapped around her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, did anybody ever figure out what happened to her? Was she badly hurt, or was that just a gruesome picture?
I haven't heard. I would assume that it's hyperextended, but I don't know if there was any ligament or any kind of damage done.
Right.
Jason, at this point, you've had about 9 pro fights, right? I think that's correct?
Yeah.
How many fights have you had in total?
Almost 35.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I stayed amateur for quite a while just to learn more and get more experience.
Right.
Do you have an upcoming fight at all?
I don't. I had one scheduled, but coronavirus kind of knocked that out of the way, which I keep bugging people about fights, but I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah. They're still few and far between, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unless, like, I traveled mainly to Massachusetts and the New England area. They I think they've started talking about doing them up there, but nothing yet.
Yeah, you know, for our business, of course, we're so closely tied to sports that we naturally need it all to come back. We need people hitting each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, 35 fights in, at what juncture did you think or decide or get educated that you needed a sponsor?
I didn't really know much about, I guess, sponsorships then, but I had a couple. I was going to Illinois to fight, and I had a clothing company from out there get a hold of me about sponsoring me.
Yeah.
And then it just went from there. And then as an amateur, I mainly had just gear sponsorships. I didn't have any like paid sponsorships or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, so they'd hook you up with gear and you'd promote them, and I guess that's a question. That's what would happen, right?
Yeah, with the gear, I wear it for training. I take pictures. I wear it in the cage. I wear it whenever I can and just give them as much exposure as I can.
I know from our long history together that you are very attentive to the folks that sponsor you. What was it? Did you learn, somebody teach you to be attentive, or it just came natural? What was the thinking behind that?
I think it came natural. I just started realizing that if I want people to sponsor me, and I've got to give them a reason to sponsor me and show that I have a social media following, I guess, and just put their name out there as much as I can. If they're going to support me, I got to support them just as much, if not more.
Right. I mean, oftentimes from our perspective, it's not necessarily how many people you have that are following you, but your dedication to our brand. And I know other companies feel the same way. You know, one interesting thing about what we're doing here with Sponsorship Live, we're trying to do, is to bring athletes together with companies, not just Impact, but other companies that need sponsored athletes. And those sponsored athletes need those companies. And so we're trying to make this a community where everybody can come and talk. And Jack and I were just working on this earlier, but later today, perhaps tomorrow, our first post from another company that's not Impact is going to go up, and they're going to be looking for sponsored athletes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So what advice would you give to folks that were attempting to get their first sponsorship?
Research the company. Just know a little bit about them. That way when you go to them, you're not just like, hey, can you sponsor me? That way you know kind of what they do and who they are and how you can help them if they agree to sponsor you.
Jack, those are magic words right there, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. As the guy who's running the social media, that's beautiful. Music to my ears.
Right. Yeah. Well, we love to sponsor guys and girls and athletes that have a love for our product and a real use for it, because then everything that happens after that is genuine. It's not canned in any way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, you use Mouthguards and all sorts of other equipment for sure.
Yeah, I love the Impact Mouthguards. Like I've had the little cheap plastic ones that you can get from Walmart, and they do fine for a while. But my first Mouthguard that I had from Impact was a pro fight. I lost due to a head kick, and I'm pretty sure he kicked me square in the mouth. And when I got to the back, my teeth were still in my mouth. So I was pretty happy about that.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so, you know, I think I saw a recent post where you had listed all of your sponsors. And while I didn't count them, there had to be 15 or so.
Yeah, I think there's 18 or 20.
Is there? Yeah. So what's the magic in that, man? You've got a stack of them.
Most of them are actually like local companies that just through social media or training together, they've learned about me and they've took a chance on putting their name on my back and
Yeah.
helping me out, and I helped them out.
You carry them proudly. So, like for a restaurant, what do you do for a local restaurant?
I take pictures of their food, share their foods. I eat there when I'm not cutting weight. I just anytime somebody's looking for recommendations on a restaurant to try, I give them a shout out.
Right. So a restaurant is pretty interesting because it's a little bit different than a company. How do you go about getting a restaurant as a sponsor? Did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
I reached out to them. It's a hometown company, so I kind of knew the people that were running it, and we just agreed on a sponsorship and went from there. They've been sponsoring me for 2 years now, I think.
That's great. Have you ever had a company that did not live up to their end of the bargain with you?
Yeah, I have. They actually sponsored me for a while, and then they wanted to keep sponsoring me, so I kept their name on my shirt, and then I never got anything in return that they had promised, and then they just disappeared.
So they went out of business?
No, they're still around. He just went elsewhere, I guess. I don't know. He never responded.
Gotcha. Yeah. I imagine, it's a tough street for both the companies and for the athletes, because sometimes athletes don't perform. And when I say perform, don't do what they say they're going to do in terms of promotion and whatnot. So at least in our case, we like to spell out ahead of time, especially with new folks that come on board in our sponsored athlete program, exactly what we're expecting. And then if they meet some of that criteria, then we just keep growing with them.
So a question that we like to ask a lot of the athletes that come on here is, if you could be sponsored by one company, who would it be and why?
I've actually thought about that a lot before, and I can't really think of any special one. Like, to be honest, before I got with Impact, it probably would have been Impact. Just like I see them growing, but the group of sponsors that I have now, they're the right fit for me, and I'm the right fit for them, and I just have a good selection of a little bit of everything. And so the group I have now, like, it used to be in between fights, I was asking if anybody wanted to sponsor me, and then the past few fights, I'm happy with the group that I have. I don't I guess need any more. Like, I wouldn't turn any down, I guess, but I'm not actively looking for any new ones.
Right. Do you have a full-time job outside of fighting?
Yes.
Yeah. So that takes up a lot of time too, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you do?
I work in a warehouse.
Gotcha. Yeah. And all your coworkers real interested in your fight career?
Oh yeah, a lot of them have my shirts, and they'll wear them and joke around, and
yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
What advice do you have for the young guy, Jason? The young athlete just starting out and maybe seeking their first sponsorship?
Just make sure you work hard to promote the company, like, that you're asking to sponsor. Give them a reason to sponsor you. Make yourself known. I'm not saying you have to be a world champion before you get a sponsorship, but
right.
I would say don't expect a sponsorship and then not give anything in return.
Exactly. Those are magic words. I've got one last question, and Jack may have one too, but with 15 to 18 sponsors, how much time do you invest a week or a month or even a day taking care of them?
I try to put at least a post out there a day for each company. I guess not each company gets a post a day, but per day.
Right.
But I guess with Impact and the company, like my gear sponsorships, I give them a little more shout out just because each training that I take a picture, I'm normally wearing the mouth guard or gloves or something, and I can give them a little more shout out. But I try to post about the restaurants and the construction companies and all the local, like the tattoo companies that sponsor me. I try to at least once a week give each of them a personal, their own post on Instagram or Facebook or wherever.
It takes a lot of, Jack,
Yeah. And I mean, seeing all the content that you create for us and all the pictures of the Mouthguards, you've definitely gone above and beyond, and we really do appreciate that. And you overflow us with content, and we love that. That makes my job easier, which is incredible. But I guess the last question that I had, and maybe a good way to end it, is we know that you are newly engaged and have 3 little kids at home. Has that changed your outlook on the sport at all, or tell us about that?
I actually have 4 kids at home.
4 kids. Oh, sorry.
But no, you're fine. It gives me, like, it takes my mind off of training and fighting, and like a lot of times I'm sore and just tired, but being around my fiance and kids, I don't know, it takes my mind off of it. I don't think about it as much. Especially during fight week, I'm trying not to think too much about it. And like I can get home from a training session and like the kids come running, my fiance is there. It's just
everything's good.
Yeah, perfect.
Good.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. We really appreciate it. It was on such short notice. You'll have to keep us updated on when your next fight is so we can promote it to our social audience. And of course, we're in your corner.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
For years and years, we've been together, and I really appreciate it. It's good to finally meet you face to face in this format. And hopefully we'll see you maybe next time we come up to Ohio.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome. I'd love to meet you face to face.
Yeah. Thanks very much. And tell other athletes to join this group, because the more it grows, the more we'll be able to help folks.
Okay. I will do that.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. Thank you.